moving on, I went to college. I chose to go to school here in Utah. I grew up in Washington State, the southeast corner, on a farm, and going from a very, very, very small community to a school of 30,000 was huge. It was huge. Yet I grew up very religious in a religion, just strong in my religion. And it was kind of a thing to do where you applied to the colleges that were connected to the specific religion. I grew up LDS. And so I applied to all of the schools and then got accepted to BYU, which is harder to get into. And with my grades and my GPA, that's the same thing. My GPA and my, what are the tests you take? Wow, you guys, one of my tests wasn't amazing. I got accepted, and immediately when I got accepted, I was like, oh my gosh, this must be a sign from God, because there's no way I should have gotten accepted with my test scores and my GPA. So I decided to go. And yeah, college for me is kind of a blur in some areas, because I kind of felt like I was in a very interesting limbo land as far as what I was raised to look for, is a partner, a husband that grew up very similar to me in the ways of our beliefs, and that it would make everything perfect. Life would be not perfect, but like you'd be happy, because of just things that I had heard and experiences that other people have had, that if you aren't within the same religion and or grew up super similar within the religion, that it would make your marriage harder. So and it's like you go through college or you go through high school, and then you go to college and you get married and you have kids. That was just like what was in my mode and mindset of what I was taught to do. So my college was basically looking for somebody to get married to. I didn't really have any idea of what I wanted to go into or graduate in at all. I kind of thought that I wanted to do something to do with art because I loved oil painting. I was very good at art, always been creative, whatnot. And after taking a couple of art classes, I was like, yeah, nope, not gonna happen. So then I literally just opened the book of majors and read through it, and I was like, sports, perfect. If I was a physical education teacher and coach, then it'll be a win for me because I'm already good at sports. So that's what I chose to graduate and to get my degree in. And there was a little part of me that was always hoping that I would make it through college without getting married, because I have this little, dare I say, rebellious streak in me where if somebody tells me what to do or how I should do it, or the comment that, oh, you'll never make it through college without getting married, there's a piece of me that's like, I'll show you. So secretly that was my goal, yet because of my subconscious programming, I was looking for that husband. So I did end up getting married my 5th year of college. I almost made it out. 5 years. And this is a huge part of my story too, because I, in real time, was feeling everything that I was going through, yet because of what I was taught, it kept on ringing through my mind that this was the person that I was supposed to marry, because they grew up almost identical to how I grew up, which were things like my parents would measure my shorts, and if they were shorter than an inch above my knee, then I couldn't wear them, or didn't drink caffeine, didn't watch R-rated movies, didn't date till you were 16. Anyways, and not bragging or not ragging, not ragging on any of this. Like I said, everybody is always doing the best that they can with what they know, with what their beliefs and what they feel is the best. So there's nothing wrong with that. It just is. And so when I met who I had married, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the only person in BYU whose parents measured their sister shorts, who couldn't do exactly what I wasn't allowed to do. And so that set off the alarm, like, oh my gosh, I found him. Yet, when I first met him, I remember thinking that is the most arrogant SOB that I have ever seen. Was not interested in him at all. We happened to live across the street from each other, me in a condo, him in a home. And yeah, so we would see each other a lot. Just because of that, the first few times that he came over to like just hang out with us, because I would sneak out the bottom stairs out of the basement and run to go do something else when I either saw him coming over, or I told my roommates, I was like, if you see him walking over, let me know because I'm out of here. Because I knew he was interested. I could feel that he was interested. I was not interested at all. Anywho, we go on our first date and we go out a couple times more, and it kind of just started going toward that direction. The more and more we talked about the church and what he loved in it and how he grew up, it was just kind of one of those things where it was like, okay, I think I found him. I think I found the best option here that matches that to a T. And I felt that. I knew that. I knew that he fit the bill of growing up exactly how I did, and that it would make me happy and that our marriage would be great. Yet I remember when he proposed, it's interesting now looking back, he tried to propose for like 7 hours straight, but thing after thing kept on going wrong, which now you hear and you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, was that not a sign from the get-go? Yet I believe we choose into everything perfectly how it was meant to be. So anywho, come midnight, he ended up actually proposing. And I remember after I said yes, and then driving back to my apartment complex, I literally was sitting there thinking, is this how it's supposed to feel? I don't think this is how it's supposed to feel. I was excited because of the excitement of being engaged. Yet I felt so weird. And then we get back, all our friends are out there. Everyone's telling us congrats, whatnot, blah, blah, blah. We start getting ready, planning the wedding, get our engagement pictures taken. And I just remember the whole time thinking, I've already gotten this far. I can't back out. I've already gotten this far. And so I just kept on going on with it. And I remember we were also sitting in a chat with the one that ended up marrying us. And he had asked us to sit across from each other and tell each other what we loved about each other. And I remember that specifically too, trying to rack my brain of things to say that would connect to how I felt, or that would be love. And I just remember saying a bunch of stuff that I liked about what he was good in concerning our religion. And then the night before we got married, I lost my, I think it was my recommend that I lost. I lost something that allowed you to go into the temple and get married. And that's where we chose to get married. I lost it the night before, ended up finding it. And then driving to the temple that morning, I was in tears. I was bawling because of another reason. But I also was like freaking out about this choice that I was about to make, or choosing into it. But again, I just had that pit feeling of, nope, this is the person that fits the bill of what you have been raised to look for. And I remember, I didn't remember this until recently going through some old emails, but I didn't realize that I had emailed my mom saying that I had a few different concerns about marrying him, and kind of her reply was, it's not fair to him to have those concerns. He's a great guy who can provide, and how he talks about how he'll treat you, blah, blah, blah. So then that kind of, from that point on, squashed my doubt or my belief that it wasn't right for me. And so I just kept on carrying on because I'm like, okay, well, my parents say it's the right thing for me to do, so I'm going to do it. So getting to the temple, it was literally so surreal. I remember my mom helping me get in my dress. And here's the other thing is I chose to wear my older sister's dress because I didn't want my dad to have to pay for a dress for me after, you know, already paying for the reception and everything else. And so I always found little ways to cut costs down without really telling anybody why I was doing it. But it was just like, oh, I'll just wear Shanae's dress because I love her dress, which, yeah. And then just everything that went along with what I chose for the wedding and the reception, specifically in Utah, was to people please, to make other people happy and choose into things that may help other people more so than what I wanted deep down. And yeah, getting into being married, having my mom help me put on my dress, it didn't feel real. I wasn't excited. It was more so like I'm going through the motions and doing something that everybody else is so happy for me about. So why am I not happy? And then getting into the room that we were married, or actually sitting with him before we went into the room to get married, the only thought that was on my mind was, this is your last chance to get out now. Right before I'm going to get married, the only thing I can think of is, this is your last chance to get out. And I remember hearing that in my head and thinking, oh my gosh, that must be the devil. That must be Satan trying to keep me from making this covenant and choice that I was about to make. So I dismissed it, got in there, went through the marriage, got married, went into the pictures afterwards. And I just remember like going through the motions, wanting to get things done and feeling like, what did I just do? And then anywho, that went on.